Okay, so let's count down 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody. My name is Kyle, and this is my friend Rick here on my channel. Thank you for coming out here. And if you've been on this channel before, you know that Mr. Rick is a officer of the law up in Maryland. How you doing today, Rick? Uh-oh. We lost him.
There we go. Came back.
Are you still there? I think I lost you.
No, I'm back. I came back.
Okay, let's start over.
All right.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Kyle, where we take culture, TV, movies, and filter it right. Tonight, we have Officer Rick back here again. We're going to talk tonight a little bit about what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein. Mr. Rick, how you doing tonight? We're losing you left and right. So we got some issues here. Let's see. This is not good. Let's see. Not sure what's going on.
Oh, now I'm back. All right. I don't know. Do you think it's on my end or your end?
Got your back?
Yeah. Do you think it's on my end or your end?
That's a great question. I wouldn't doubt it being on my end, but if I look at my throughput here, looks like, let's see, could have been on my end. I think I have OBS running twice. Oh, I lost you now. I lost you again. Looks like.
Huh.
You there?
Yeah,
could be on my end.
Yeah, I'm still here. I see everything on my end.
When I stopped, did you hear me still?
Yeah. So like each time, as soon as you start the introduction, like maybe 5 seconds after you start the introduction is when you we lost the connection each time. It was like at the same point each time.
Did you hear me still?
Yeah.
Right. I'm just on YouTube now. I'm gonna close the YouTube out. That's kind of freaking me out. Well, let's just keep going. I'll edit it out. So, Rick, how you doing tonight?
Oh, doing great, Kyle. Thanks for having me again. It's always great talking to you.
Yeah, welcome back. How's your weekend?
Pretty much spent the entire weekend doing yard work, so it kind of sucked. How was your weekend?
I just spent my weekend doing nothing for the first time. I was doing some serious stuff with my job. I was working about 70 hours the first week and about 60 hours last week. I think I got the stuff resolved, but hopefully this week I'm going to vacation this weekend. So hopefully I will go to Florida this weekend. So hopefully I get everything done before then, so I don't have to think about it.
Oh, what part of Florida are you going to?
Going to Tampa, going to the West Coast.
Oh, nice. I'll be in Clearwater in 2 weeks.
You going back there?
Yep. I'm going back there. So.
That's a little further south from Tampa, right?
It is actually it's almost actually like maybe about 20 miles west of Tampa. So it's
20 miles west of Tampa?
Yeah, because last time I was there, we went and saw a Tampa Bay Rays game, and it was only like about a 20-minute drive.
That's right. So are you doing that again?
Yeah. Yep. I'll be down there.
And when are you going?
It's August. We're leaving August 23rd and coming back the 30th.
See, I'm going next week. This weekend, it's been almost perfect.
Yeah. So you guys have someplace to stay down there, or where are you staying?
We have no idea where we're staying. My wife got tickets to. She got one of these flash things on her email. Like if you act within the next 5 minutes, you can get tickets for like $20. Right?
Yeah.
Something crazy, stupid, cheap, whatever. So she goes ahead and books the tickets without telling me about it, not knowing my schedule. And so then today I realized, we're going to Tampa this weekend. Do we have a place to stay? She said no.
Well, if you got to be homeless in Tampa for a week, at least the weather's going to be nice.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean, does fruit grow in the trees down there too, like other places in tropics?
Yeah, you can just pick a pineapple off the tree or something.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So
yeah.
Well, anyway, that's good. So we talked about, for those who don't know, we're bantering a little bit, but we've known each other for a long time, high school buddies and so forth. And I bring Rick on here to talk about things mostly regarding law enforcement and from that side of the table, because there's a lot of things going on in the media and with just the whole thing with Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter and all this stuff. And it's just a good idea to get people dialoguing in a way that's not going to be divisive. And Rick's on here to kind of give that perspective. And in this case, we're going to talk a little bit about Jeffrey Epstein, the billionaire who committed suicide this weekend. We don't know what happened. And the story is that he was in suicide watch and he ended up being dead. What's your thoughts on that, Rick? Did you see the coverage of that when that came out, or did you just hear after the fact?
Oh yeah, how could you not see all the coverage? I think my social media feed was blowing up, and I don't know about you, but I was not surprised one bit in the least.
Well, he had tried to commit suicide, I think, about a week ago prior to, where he survived a suicide attempt. And here's the thing: I'm gonna just put it out there.
Or you could look at it: he survived the first assassination attempt.
Exactly. Here's a guy who has been around for a long time, and supposedly he's at a private island. And I hear he's got even like a temple on this island. I'm not sure how true that it is, but like a big, almost like a religious type building there. People come in there, fly in there, and things happen. It's all private. And so there's been speculation that there's a pedophile ring going on where children are being taken advantage of and all bad things like that. And there's supposed to be a black book. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And many people are on that, like Joan Rivers, which I don't believe she's on it. I mean, for that reason, I think it could just be a contact list. And so it'd be interesting to find out what happens from that. So with Rick, with your experience in law enforcement, can you tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of what your experiences in jails? And did you have a situation where you were involved with the suicide watch, or were you around that at all? And how's that work and how's that staffed?
Well, I'll start by saying, I'm not a big person, who believes in conspiracy theories. We just had the Apollo 11 anniversary not too long ago, and there's all these theories about how they faked the moon landing. They had the social media thing about people storming Area 51 to see the aliens. Of course, we landed on the moon. There's no freaking aliens in Area 51. But I tell you, watching this story, I'm going to get my tinfoil hat, and I'm going to go full conspiracy theory on this one, because there's too many people out there that could go down because of Epstein and his black book, and I just find it very hard to believe that he committed suicide in jail. I don't know about you, but this did not surprise me in the least. I saw this coming as soon as he was locked up. I was like, I wonder how long he's going to survive. So, but more or less to answer your question, typically pedophiles in general don't do well in prison. A lot of them do commit suicide because they don't do well in prison. And, there's kind of like this unwritten prison code between, inmates that, you have armed robbers, gang members, murderers, they all gang up on the pedophiles. So they don't like them. So, pedophiles don't do well in prison. But, when you got a high profile person like Epstein, they're going to do everything they can to protect him. And so for him to end up in, dead by supposed suicide, I just don't buy it. Something happened that, I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, we're hearing conflicting reports about that the suicide watch was lifted, and now we're hearing reports that that people were no longer staffing in that area at that time. It just seemed really convenient. who would it who would it take for someone to do that? It could be an inside job. It could be something as simple as an inmate, whatever. But they would have to have access to that, right?
Yeah.
Or it has to be someone threatening a guard, maybe, right?
Yeah. Did you see who his former cellmate was?
No.
So his former cellmate, I can't remember what the guy's last name. It was Frank something. He is a former cop in New Jersey who is facing the death penalty for killing like 5 people in New Jersey. And this guy's been locked up, I think, since like 2016 or 2015. But I mean, if you look at a picture of this guy, I mean, he looks like freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's like this big buff bodybuilder. And it's like, somebody, now they supposedly had moved this guy guy out of Epstein's cell, which again seems kind of convenient because apparently the rule in the jail is, there's always, 2 people, 2 inmates per cell. And they happen to conveniently move this guy out like a couple days or whatever before the suicide. So I mean, there's just too many convenient factors going on. But yeah, typically, like if you're on suicide watch, they either move you into a cell where you have like 24-hour video surveillance on you, or you have a guard like literally sitting outside your door keeping an eye on you. And then supposedly again they took him off of suicide watch, and that's usually only done at the order of like the jail psychiatrist. So I don't know, it's just all too convenient.
So when you have a suicide watch, what does that mean for the people who are watching? I mean, what does that mean exactly?
So essentially, it means like if you end up in jail for the first time, and you realize that I guess your life is potentially over, and you think I can't handle the thought of doing 20 years in prison or doing life in prison, so I'm going to try and kill myself. So you either make overt statements that you want to kill yourself, or you make an attempt. And if you survive, then at that point they put you on a suicide watch, where they have you meet with a psychiatrist all the time. You're watched, you're under surveillance all the time. Make sure that you don't kill yourself. So that's basically what it means. Is people who come in and have either attempted suicide, jail, or make statements that they want to kill themselves, they get moved in some kind of protective custody where they're watched all the time, and then they're interviewed by a psychiatrist constantly until the psychiatrist deems that they're no longer a threat to themselves.
Okay, I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna read an article here really quickly. From this is from the Unbiased America. It says here the Epstein was taken off suicide watch just 6 days after his July 23rd suicide attempt. So July 23rd, which is 2 weeks ago, he was taken off of it. It says Epstein was placed on suicide watch after he had been found in a cell on July 23rd with neck injuries that suggested that he was trying to kill himself. According to federal regulations, inmates on suicide watch are housed in special observation cells surrounded by windows and bolted down. But said just 6 days later, on July 29th, Epstein was taken off the watch for reasons that remain unclear. Inmates can only be removed from the watch when the program coordinator, who is generally the chief psychologist, like you just said, psychologist at the faculty, deems that they're no longer an imminent risk for suicide. They need face-to-face evaluation, a post-watch report. So it's a lot of stuff, it sounds like, to get off. It's not like you can just overnight be off suicide watch. There's several steps that have to happen. You have to be interviewed, and you have to have a post-interview, and so yeah. So like I believe what you said was accurate here. It's that he had so many people that he could implicate, and I'm just curious if he had something. Would you call it's called a death switch when something happens after you die, documents get fired off, or
like a dead man switch type thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm curious if he's had anything like that, because typically people do that from right here. And I'm going to bring the next question up on this about how television can be different from real life. But from my layman approach, you think that these things happen because people are afraid for themselves, and they put that in place so they can protect themselves. So that if something were to happen to them, there's no real benefit to kill them, because that's going to get out anyway. So my first question is number one, how likely do you think is that's to happen for people to have? And number two, how different is it from reality, from television, to what we see in real life? Because there is that thing, from my perspective, I'm looking at like law enforcement through YouTube and through television shows. And so the question again is it likely that he had something like that, or is that just me just watching too many police shows on television?
Well, supposedly he had told either some other inmates or some guards there that somebody was trying to kill him. So I guess it depends on, if he wanted to bring other people down with him, or if he was content and, taking the fall and protecting all his, pedophile buddies. So in reality, yeah, if you're involved in something and you think that, your life is in danger, there have been cases where people do that. They'll, write out letters or whatever, and stick them in a safe deposit box, or do something else, like send them to, like a great thing is like send them to reporters, because the
Okay.
media will love that stuff. So, they can say like, if I were to end up dead, you can find whatever in the safe deposit box. The key's here. So, yeah, it is on TV, but it is a good thing, like, to kind of protect yourself, especially if you want to bring other people down. Yeah, it can happen. But again, I don't know if he even wanted to bring anybody down, or if he was willing to protect everybody and just go down alone.
Yeah, that is true. It's so unfortunate and sad. And unfortunately, it just sounds like people just seem to get away with these things, and it's like, and things are so obvious. I think the people who, if this was a conspiracy or an attempt to, or a successful attempt of murder, then I don't think they really care if it's how it looks. Just that he's gone,
Yeah. Well, the thing that gets me is the timing of it, because they had the documents unsealed and a couple names started coming out, and then boom, he's dead. So it's like, okay, who was next on that list to come out that maybe didn't want to come out, or who had connection to say, hey, we got to make sure the rest of these names don't come out, because they're starting to come out. So that's what gets me, is like, who else was on that list that didn't want to have their name brought out?
But how can the narrative be? I mean, how can that stop that? It can maybe slow it down because of the news cycle, but how can that prevent the unsealed documents from coming out and becoming made public?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if it's in the documents, they're going to come out anyway. But maybe he has some information that he hasn't shared or is willing to talk. I mean, who knows? I mean,
or maybe a nickname that or initials.
Yeah, I mean, if there's like nicknames or initials and like ledgers or whatever, maybe he's the only one that can say, yeah, BC stands for somebody else. I mean, who knows? That's the only thing, is like he may have the only information that could have provided links to certain things, and depending on what kind of record keeping there was.
And do we know if he was implicated? Do we know if he was being questioned at this point? Or do we know if he was being?
I'm sure he was. Now he may have just flat out lawyered up and said, or I mean, any good defense attorney would be like, don't answer any questions. So I'm sure they tried to talk to him, but if he was smart, he would have lawyered up, and his defense lawyer would have said, don't answer anything. So I'm guessing that they tried but didn't get anything out of him. So I mean, that's only speculation at this point. But because you would think that, I mean, especially now that he's dead, the prosecution can come out, and since there's not going to be a trial, they can basically say, look, this is all the evidence we had. And hopefully that's what will happen, is they'll lay out all the evidence and be like, this is what we would have gone to trial with. It doesn't matter now that he's dead, but this is what we had. It'd be nice that stuff came out. So it'd be interesting to see if any of that actually comes out, or if it just magically goes away.
Yeah, it would be interesting, because if he was going to maybe what could have been, in my opinion, this is my TV mentality here, is that if he was going to be in danger, it would be because he was going to try and protect himself. Maybe he would, plea deal. Maybe instead of getting, in the worst possible prison, he can get something, you know what I mean? So he can maybe get solitary confinement somewhere. Some kind of deal they could get if he points fingers and points names. But I do know that, well, at least I don't know this. I mean, I haven't really been, full disclosure, I really haven't been fully involved in this particular case. I will get more involved in it. But I heard that Attorney General Barr is looking to investigate with the FBI what happened in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, especially in that jail. I mean, you can't let a high-profile prisoner like that either, be murdered in jail or commit suicide, because, at that point, like, the superintendent of the jail is probably gonna, I'd probably speculate he'd probably lose his job, and like all the supervisors might, go down. You just can't let that happen, because you got to look back at like where the failure was. How was this guy, allowed to, if he did commit suicide, how was he allowed to commit suicide? And if he didn't, then how was he allowed to be put in a position where he could be murdered in jail? Because, I mean, if there was some high, powerful people that were behind it, they could very easily come in and just be like, okay, everybody look the other way. But again, if you're dealing with that many people, somebody's going to talk at some point, At least that's what I would think, is like somebody would come out and say, look, yeah, we were ordered to take him off of suicide watch, or we were ordered to not watch him for this amount of time. Then again, that person could be next on the hit list.
This is almost like at the level of Jimmy Hoffa,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people knew he was going to be gone, but they didn't know when or how,
Yeah, it's just all too convenient. Like I said, it didn't surprise me one bit that he died. I figured either he would be, killed in prison, or he might kill himself. So I'm not surprised that he's dead. But it wasn't not too long ago, like early in the spring, where like that high rank, I don't know if you heard about this, the high ranking mafia boss, they got put in jail, and like within 5. Did you lose me?
See how that's part again, the high-ranking FBI official?
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I don't know
high-ranking gang member or a leader.
Yeah, I don't know, if you remember this story, but it's like in the spring there was this high-ranking mafia guy. He was like in his 70s or something, and he was moved to a different prison. I can't remember what his name was. He was moved to a different prison, and after he got moved to the new prison, I mean, he was killed within like 2 or 3 days of being brought into this jail. And
Wow.
they think that the guy. I mean, they know who did it, and they think that he was basically put set up to do it. So I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if somebody on the inside of that jail was contacted and be like, hey, you take out Epstein, and either your family will be taken care of for the rest of your life, or we'll find some way to get you out.
Yeah, I have a few more points to talk about. I wouldn't beat this to death, but the first thing I was going to say essentially was, that we all, like you said before, we all sort of saw this thing coming. And what's so shocking about this is really on 3 levels, right? And it's in sequence. Number one, the event happened, that he gets arrested. That's the first shock. Second shock was, well, that he was actually, in prison and so forth, and that he tried to commit suicide. But after he was in prison the first time, we all knew, we were joking, everyone was joking that he was gonna, be, suicided, And then the second shock would be when he actually almost when they said that he had neck injuries and almost died. And then of course the third shock is today, or this weekend. And it's like you said before, this high profile case, if you can still hear me, the fact that that's happened must be a total shock to the New York. Is this in New York? What just happened? Okay, we're gonna have to redo this.
All right, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
So yeah, I'll just edit through that.
Yeah.
So basically, I was gonna say, basically, what I was saying essentially was this: that it's been a 3-tier shocker. Him getting arrested, we all kind of knew that was going to be, or we were joking around thinking that he was going to get suicided. Second shock was him almost being suicided or killed or whatever. And then the third was this happening. And you would just think that after each one of those things, people would have stepped up security and so forth. Like you said, the high profile case should have been in lockdown. I remember the DC sniper, he couldn't move. I mean, or any high profile person, that's in he really should have been max, really, in my opinion. He should have been max, which is that, I'm not sure where that facility is, but Supermax, where they put everybody, all the high profile people. That's really where he should have been, but I'm not sure it would have made a difference, really. But
yeah, it'll be interesting. Well, hopefully the autopsy report will come out and they'll say what he died from. And like, if the autopsy report gets hushed and they don't come out, say, and actually like, they may come out and say, oh, he died from asphyxiation from hanging himself. It's like, okay, well, let's see the actual.
Like the blood work, maybe.
All right, I'm back. I'm back.
That's fine. Yeah, I think, well, the autopsy reports just came out, so we'll see that out. And I just think right now, we're having a little technical difficulties here, so we're just going to try to wrap this up real quick so we get through this video. But the autopsy reports are out, so I'm going to get off this call here, and then I'm going to check it out, and we'll touch base again. But Rick, I really appreciate you coming out here, especially late at night and last minute. So, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this thing up?
No, thanks for having me. It's always fun. Look forward to doing the next one.
Yeah, cool. Maybe it would be a lighter topic. As you can see, I don't know if you noticed this guy here.
Yeah,
Man, the Redskins looked horrible.
I was trying to find some Cowboy paraphernalia in here, but I don't have any that I could put up. But yeah, I mean, right now both of our teams are 0-1 in the preseason. So, but yeah, you guys got beat by the Browns. At least we don't have that going for us.
Our offensive line is it's like Moses going through the Red Sea, man. I mean, it's going to be. We'd be lucky to win 4 games this year.
Yeah, well, hopefully they learn from RG3 and they don't put Dwayne Haskins in that same position.
He needs to sit all season.
Yeah,
he's not ready. He's got a lot of talent. He's got a nice arm, credible arm, but no need to get him killed, for no reason.
Yeah, and he threw 2 perfect interceptions, so it was awesome.
Well, the second one was really, really bad.
Yeah.
Double coverage. The second one, he was trying to do a wheel route, and he basically led the guy the wrong way. But the throws he did make were incredible.
Well, it's like all the college quarterbacks coming out is like throws that were open in college or interceptions in the pros. So
exactly. The linebackers don't run like 5.1s in college.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
4.8 40s for linebackers. It doesn't happen in college.
Yeah.
So, well, not much at least. Maybe Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, but But anyway, so we'll call it a wrap here tonight. So hope everyone has a good time on this call. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll edit some of this stuff out. This is not going to be live, but we'll check you out later and check out some more videos that we have. I'm going to put some up here above me. Check those out. And everyone else, have a great evening. Thanks again, Rick, for having me, and we'll see you next time, guys.
All right, thanks.
I think we're clear.